So, do you have any questions for me? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, do you have any questions for me? Probably the most commonly asked interview question, and it's not asked just out of courtesy, it can literally make or break your interview. Now, there is a right way and a wrong way to answer such a question. And a quick story, just going back to one of the previous companies I worked in, there was a candidate that came in and they were asked that question. So, do you have any questions for me? And their response was literally this. They looked at their chair and they kind of just went, "Oh, this is a really nice chair. Where's this chair from?" And yeah, needless to say, the candidate didn't get the offer for that and other reasons. But that is definitely by far one of the worst questions you could ask. So, contrasting to that, there was also another candidate, and when they came in, and I've done this myself actually, and when they got asked for the question, "Do you have any questions for me?" they simply reply with, "No, I don't have any questions," or "I don't have any questions at the moment," or "Not really, nothing to ask." And the problem with that is that response is way too passive. If you ask any kind of question, it does normally, or any kind of reasonable question, it can convey a sense of interest in the company and the role. So you don't want to come off as too passive. Now, what you're probably thinking is, okay, how do I come across as not too passive whilst also not asking an idiotic question? And that is a good question in itself. So what I'm going to show you are 3 easy questions that you can ask, and they're normally perceived very, very positively, and they should put you in good stead for hopefully receiving an offer. So let's get into it. So question 1 is, given how much there is to learn in this role that I'm applying for, what kind of resources or study support is offered to myself, or do I have access to? And this question is a really, really good question for a couple of reasons. Firstly, if you're asking a question like that, it shows that you are interested in learning and developing, you're quite ambitious, and that's something that employers generally really like, especially in the tech industry. Your role as, say, a software developer is one that constantly requires you to upskill yourself and learn. And so this is always perceived quite positively because a lot of companies do normally provide resources. So common one might be a Pluralsight premium license. Also, a lot of them provide a stipend for you to attend conferences as well, so that you can continually learn and develop and work on your own progression. And again, this question, although it might seem quite simple, is very, very effective at getting across your enthusiasm and showing that passion for learning, which a lot of people quite like. Question 2 is, what is generally expected of me in my first month in the role? Now, this is another really, really good question to ask, and it's very generic. You can apply this to quite a lot of different industries. And the reason why it's quite good is because normally the person interviewing might respond with, well, the first few days you're going to have to just sort out some compliance training, and then kind of get your workspace set up, and then there'll be some tasks for you to do which require you to learn X, Y, and Z, and they'll normally buddy you up with someone more senior to do that. And this question is really good because then it opens up a lot more paths for conversation. So for example, if you need to learn X, Y, and Z, you can then start to kind of pry a bit more and ask them, "Oh, okay, so do you know any good resources that I can start to look at, which might be good?" And then the conversation kind of just shifts from there. So again, it's a really, really nice, simple one to ask, and one that I would definitely recommend adding to your list of potential questions. Now, the third question does require a little bit more work, and that is for you to look at possibly their annual report or semi-annual quarterly report, and kind of look at areas where the company is focusing on and what kind of challenges they're facing. And pretty much all companies will have some kind of report available on their website. And myself, I currently work for a asset management firm which lies in the realm of finance. So as a software developer within there, I remember one of the questions that I asked, having come from a financial background previously, is there was a new regulation coming in Europe called MiFID II, and that required any kind of trading of assets to be logged in a very specific way, which required a lot of work in order to kind of keep an audit trail, and a lot of work from the technical aspect as well. So a lot of developers had to kind of add that into their existing workflow, and that's kind of what I spoke about too with one of the people interviewing me. And that was actually seen quite positively because they were quite interested about how I knew about MiFID II. That then got me to ask them how that overhead affected the developers, how their existing processes kind of worked, and how they had to integrate newer processes to ensure that they were MiFID compliant. And the conversation kind of just carried on from there, and it showed a lot more of my interest. It conveyed that across really, really well, and it also opened up a lot more avenues for conversation. And again, that's a really, really good question. It's something that does require a little bit of work, but it can really differentiate you a lot from, say, any other average candidate, and leave a really good, memorable, lasting impression. So my advice would be generally to practice those 3 questions, practice from a mirror, practice with a friend, and just get really good, used to giving these answers so that you can add it to your interview response arsenal. And so yeah, that's pretty much going to be the end of the video, but thank you again guys so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe to support my channel and keep updated with more content on getting into the tech industry, and do share it with anyone who you think it might help them. And yeah, thanks again so much for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.